Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Winners and Winers Radio. I am your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together, we make up Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour, and we'll give you the winners. That's exactly what we're here for. Scott, how'd your Monday go?
Overall, decent. I ended up losing my play of the day on a team total of 2.5 for the Giants. I knew the wind was blowing in, but it took away a decent amount of home runs. I could have used a couple of those, but either way, I know we had a play together, which fared pretty well, so I basically broke even. You?
Worked out okay. Yeah, not so good. I had one of my premiums was the over 2.5 as well. Love that play.
Beat such a big line move on that, too.
Oh yeah. And yeah, an impossibly big line move. It was, 100% the right play. I'd played again, just didn't work out. And had the Baltimore Ravens minus the points. And, of course, we all know how that ended up. Baltimore played absolutely no defense for about, 2.5 quarters before they finally woke up and decided to stop letting Jonathan Taylor go for, 50 yards at a clip every time he touched the ball. At least that's the way it seemed.
I leaned to the Colts in that game for no reason besides the fact that primetime games have been close. It's kind of the main logic I had. No, I just thought the Colts would do enough to play keep away. And that really didn't even happen. They just had a couple of big play touchdowns.
Yeah, no, it's not. And, it's kind of the way, for the most part, Baltimore stopped them. They just couldn't stop. They couldn't. It was the most frustrating game to watch because they couldn't keep from giving up the big play.
Yeah, Colts had the 70-something yard touchdown for Taylor, and then Pittman mosses about 3 guys for a touchdown. And you had one defensive touchdown that was called back, but it was still a 60-something yard return on Lamar Jackson's fumble at the 1-yard line.
Right.
They scored anyway, but every drive they had was just one big play or starting the drive at around midfield.
Right. And of course, my play of the day on the free side on the YouTube was the under. And I believe we have
We're going to talk about that one.
Our own special segment for that particular play. So yeah, that's about how my day went. So you know what? All in all, though, still a better day than John Gruden. So
true.
Oh my goodness. All right. So let's get rolling, man. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk a little college football. We're going to talk a little, what's the one with the black rubber thing and the sticks? What do you call that?
Hockey.
Hockey. That's right. Hockey kicks off tonight. So we're pretty excited about that. I guess hockey doesn't actually kick off. It
drops off.
Yeah, sure. There you go. It drops off. It drops off tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The Kraken. They're going to release the Kraken tonight, Scott.
Technically. Games, it's not a home game, so they're not going to fully release the Kraken, but I don't know if the Kraken can travel or not. They're playing.
Kraken's playing in Vegas.
So. It's gambling. The Kraken, found some water slots or something.
You like the Kraken's chances? You like the way they filled out their team? We really didn't talk much. We usually talk preseason stuff. We didn't talk any preseason hockey.
I believe we mentioned briefly right after the expansion draft my thoughts on the team. We didn't really cover free agency. I think they're making the playoffs.
Is that right?
They are in such an awful division. Their division is so bad that I think they're actually going to make the playoffs.
Now, review, they're with the Kings and Arizona. Who else?
Their division is, let's just say,
I don't even know. Just by the fact you're saying how bad it is.
They're with the Ducks as well. The Ducks are terrible.
Of course. Yep.
But you're looking at the teams and how you're going to break down, because they now do the actual division thing instead of 1 through 8. So they're in the Pacific. Your division, hear me out here. You got Edmonton, decent.
Yeah.
You got Vegas, very good. And Calgary, meh, not great. Same thing with Vancouver, pretty good, whatever. Other than that, you have the Kings, awful. Sharks, awful. Ducks, awful. Yeah, so they joined the league and they're already the 4th worst team in their division, which means that you do the math on that one, they got a shot.
So you've got the Flames, the Knights, and the Oilers.
Yeah. I'm assuming that the Flames might have a bit of a down year because I don't really like what they did during the offseason at all. But the point is that no matter what, they should finish ahead of the Sharks, they should finish ahead of the Kings, and they should finish ahead of Anaheim. So if you think they're better than Calgary, that means you think that they are already basically a top 3, top 4 team in the division.
And remind everybody how the playoffs work, who qualifies, how does it get seeded?
So you get the top 3 teams from each division, and then you have the 2 wild cards. So the best records that are not part of the top 3 in each division get the spot.
So a total of 14 teams make the postseason. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a total of 16 teams.
You've got wait a minute, you got 4 divisions.
You get 3 from each division.
Okay.
So you get 6 from each conference, and then you have the 2 wildcard spots.
Wait. You said, say that again?
So each conference has 2 separate divisions. You get 3 from each division.
You got 4 divisions. You get 3 from each. That's 12.
Yeah. And then you get 2 wildcards from each conference, which is 4.
From each conference. I thought you said 2 wildcards total. Okay.
No, I'm saying for the Western Conference.
Okay.
So I actually think the Kraken got a shot to make the playoffs.
Okay.
But they inherited such an easy division.
Any kind of odds on them?
I can check. I'll tell you what, we can talk about that when we get into hockey later, but I'll look that up.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll take a look at the hockey odds. Give us some of your leans and everything. We've kind of undersold hockey, so we'll play a little catch up there, and
we'll make up for that maybe later in the show, but we'll see.
There you go. Yeah, we've got a lot to get to, of course. So let's get her rolling, Scott. Let's find out. Even though there wasn't many games, there was still plenty of stealing, my friend. Plenty of people that thought they had a winner. I'm not going to mention any names, but one of them might be sitting in the chair right here. And right up until the time that they didn't, Scott, you know who you are. You know who we are. There's only one thing you can do when somebody steals from you. Man, call the cops, would you? All right. Well, let's start it off with the Colts Ravens under 47. If you had that, like me and probably a few of the viewers had as well, you were sitting really pretty. You were 13 points at the first half. Scored 18 in the third quarter. Not ideal, but you can still take 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and come out on the right side of it. You figure, you know what? We're still 50-50 here. I don't know what the live line would have been. You'd have probably been right in the ballpark, but no. The Ravens, Scott, they never say die, those Ravens, and they ended up scoring a touchdown with 45 seconds left to put it over. They added on the 2-point conversion, of course, and then won it in overtime. But as of, I don't know, a few years ago, they no longer kick the extra point if it's irrelevant in overtime. And it was, and they didn't. Game ends 31-25. Congratulations if you had the under 47 in the Colts-Raven game. You were good. And then you weren't.
So the second one was it's going to be a couple of some overlap here because it's still on the same game. You had the Colts money line at plus 290. You led by 19 points with 1 minute left in the third quarter. You had a field goal blocked that would have put you up 2 possessions with less than 5 minutes to go. You even got the ball back after the Ravens tied it in field goal range with a shot to win it. And the kicker missed. And then you lose the coin toss. That's all she wrote. Ravens went down and scored a touchdown. You lose the game.
Overtime in the NFL, still ridiculous.
Black and Chip also missed an extra point, by the way. So he had a field goal blocked, missed the game winner, and he missed an extra point.
So not a great night for Rodrigo?
Slightly worse than Mason Crosby's.
Still better than Gruden?
Yeah, still better than Gruden. He still has a job, so that counts.
Yeah, the Pistons Grizzlies over 221.5, a little preseason NBA. Needed 49 points in the fourth quarter. That doesn't sound like a lot in an NBA game, Scott, especially with a total of 221. And you had 47 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, or you had 45 rather. And what'd you get? You got 2 points in the last 2 minutes and 10 seconds. The game landed 219. Congratulations, everybody. If you had the over 221.5, they only decided to play 46 minutes tonight instead of 48. And that means you are left there with your phone in your hand, and it's time to call the cops.
I'm pretty sure that both times we've mentioned a preseason game in the NBA with 2 points in the final 2 minutes. I think the Grizzlies were involved in both.
Yes, they were both Grizzly victories, Scott.
Yep.
All right. Well, the opposite of call the cops. These are the people that were in great shape all night long. You know who you are. You were just sitting fat and happy as you relaxed in the rocking chair.
So the first one was in the football game. If you had the Colts money line, it was a bad beat. However, if you had the Colts +7, that was a rocking chair because at no point in the game were you ever not covering. They never trailed in regulation, gave up the touchdown first. Who cares? No extra point. They lost by 6.
We talked about this right before the show started, Scott. Justin Tucker had a very odd evening. The Baltimore Ravens put up 31 points. Justin Tucker attempted no extra points.
Yep.
Very, very bizarre. I would like to know if somebody out there from the Elias Sports Bureau is listening. I'd like to know when the last time that happened was, because I thought that was really unusual. Hey, if you had Jonathan Taylor, not to be confused with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, the cute kid from Home Improvement, if you had Jonathan Taylor over 13.5 receiving yards, man, they don't get a lot easier than that. About 12 minutes left in the game, threw a little swing pass.
So about 3 minutes into the game.
Or I say 3 minutes left. I said, 3 minutes into the game. Sorry. Threw a little swing pass to the left, had a couple of nice blocks, hit the hole, never looked back. All the way gone. 76 yards. If you had over 13.5 yards, about 62 yards back, you won your bet. Congratulations. You were sitting in the rocking chair.
I got to assume that was the easiest rocking chair of the night, when you only have to watch 2 minutes and 1 second in order for you to cash your bet.
Yeah, you can catch up on your Netflix binge and stuff.
Yep, and the last one was in preseason basketball. If you had the Jazz -8 against the Pelicans, led by 17 at the half, and won by 31 points. So even in exhibition, the Jazz are going to kill the Pelicans.
The Pelicans still suck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. What was the last show you binged, Scott? Did you binge anything?
I caught up on Atlanta a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
Very good.
They're not making those anymore, are they?
They're in the middle between season 2 and season 3.
Oh, okay. Very good. I just finished Cobra Kai.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Wax on, wax off.
It's pretty cheesy. There's a lot of like 80s hype music.
I heard it's pretty good though.
It's entertaining. It was. I'm just going through the list of all the Emmy nominees for comedy series, and then I'm going to do dramas. So I started with Cobra Kai. All right, Scott. Well, let's find out, man. We kind of alluded to it just a little bit, a little foreshadowing, if you will. Chekhov's gun situation. We're going to find out who's wearing the golden sombrero, and we're going to have to find some addresses, because a lot of these guys are going to be hard to find now, because I'm sure they're in seclusion, but they are wearing the golden feed bag. I think I said the golden sombrero. I'm too used to watching the Dodgers game. I think half the team wore the golden sombrero tonight. Hey, let's find out who's donkey of the day, shall we? Scott, I have a question for you. What happened to kickers? What in the hell? Can you explain that to me? NFL kickers missed 16 field goals attempts, 16 field goal attempts, and 13 extra points in week 5. What now? Weather was pretty good for the most part, right? I mean, there was a little bit of wind here and there.
The wind in the Green Bay game didn't help, but when the Patriots and Texans have 3 touchdowns and all 3 extra points get missed, it's in a dome. You start to have some questions.
It was 12-6. You're like, what am I watching here?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a trend? Is this just a statistical aberration, or is it just a one-time thing that they're going to be donkeys of the day?
I don't know if it's a one-time thing, because we've talked about how bad some kickers are throughout the last couple of years once they move the extra point back. So this is what the NFL wanted. They wanted chaos, and that's what they've gotten for kickers. And I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it. But when it comes to looking at why it happens, I'm not sure if kickers are aware of what's going on with some other games where you just look over and go, this guy missed a kick. This guy missed a kick. I hope I don't miss a kick. And then suddenly it all just, it gets contagious. But yeah, kickers are a pretty inconsistent, let's just say, position group in the NFL. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're bad. For the first couple of weeks, I didn't see many missed kicks for the first couple of weeks. And then everything exploded in week 5.
We were talking about the 66-yarder and everybody hitting the clutch kicks. And
Joseph missed that one kick for the Vikings against the Cardinals. I think that was basically it. At least that's what I mostly remember missed kick-wise for the first couple of weeks. And then everyone made up for lost time in week 5.
That debacle in Cincinnati, five of them alone came in that game.
Yeah.
They were like within 6 minutes of each other.
And that's what the field goals. It's not even including the extra points.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Just totally ridiculous. All right, so we'll keep an eye on you kickers.
Of course, we mentioned that for Donkey today because it fits into the Blankenship missed field goals.
Yeah,
and
normally
whatever.
Pretty solid kicker.
Oh yeah, I know he was dealing with a hip issue, so he was injured. He wasn't 100% going in,
right.
But he missed a couple of field goals, one block to miss the extra point, which would have helped, of course. Yeah, didn't have a great night either.
I can't understand anybody who's got good-looking glasses like that can't be hip.
I don't know either.
Just saying.
Looks like the Hanson brothers.
Bob, baby. Oh, no, the other Hanson brothers.
The other one from Slapshot.
All right. So, Scott, there's a lot to contend with today. A lot of disappointment out there, but this one really stood out. Let's find out who's got our attention today. I'm not mad, Scott. I'm just, I don't know, disappointed. All right, sir.
So, for this one, we're going back to baseball. There's one team that is still alive, barely, but it has not played pretty well. That's the Milwaukee Brewers. And this team, we've roasted the offense all season long. I thought the pitching might be able to overcome it, and they're not officially out of it, but they have been shut out for the last 2 games. They lost yesterday 3-0. Shout out Jock Peterson for the pinch hit 3-run home run. But you're a team with home field in a series. You've scored 2 runs in the first 3 games of the series combined. Can you get it together? Maybe bunt somebody over? Try something? I don't know.
Well, you got to have some guys on base first. So
that is true.
That would be helpful. But yeah, it's a weird situation. I don't, we knew the Brewers' offense was challenged.
I thought the pitching would be good enough where they could score 3 to 4 runs a game and manage. They're scoring 0.
No, if they were scoring 3 to 4 runs, they'd have been right in the game today. As they gave up, as they just had the, you put up a goose egg. It don't matter how good your pitching is.
We're talking about guys on base. They went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position yesterday.
Yeah, that hurts as well. So, yeah, no question about it. So we have to talk about it. We've alluded to it a little bit. The big news of the day, besides you squeaking out a fantasy victory and me losing by 0.3 of a point, has been John Gruden. And John Gruden now has the same number of head coaching jobs that we have, Scott.
On the bright side, though, it was a pretty big check. Because I'm sure he had a secret buyout clause in there.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he had to.
But he quit.
I actually was curious what the story was with the resigning and all. I'm assuming to save face he resigned, but there's no way he's forfeiting like $70 million. They're definitely paying him, I'd have to assume, something that Texas would pay when they buy out a coach, for example. They're probably paying him, what do you think, like 20 out of the 70?
You're going to tap the Raiders alumni?
I'm just curious what you think he's getting paid, but I think that it's very unlikely Gruden voluntarily walked away from $70 million.
Well, they could have fired him and given him nothing. So, yeah.
I'm assuming, though, when the contract was made for 10 years, Gruden had some buyout clause put in there or some deal where if you get rid of me, you're paying me X.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So let's assume it's somewhere north of $10 million and call it a day. Okay. Which I think is fair. You agree?
Yeah, I think probably in the 8 figures. Yeah, low
somewhere north of 10,
high 7s. I don't know that it's quite that much, but so the weird thing is, it was a New York Times investigation, but it wasn't into John Gruden. Scott, do you know what it was into?
I have no idea.
They were doing an investigation and expose on the Washington football team because there's been a couple of things that they've had come up. One of them being,
that was a sexual harassment of cheerleaders and stuff like that in the workplace.
Sexual harassment. Like, you think of sexual harassment as making an inappropriate comment, maybe slipping a hand and patting a butt every once in a while, incredibly
in a public bar or not. That's debatable.
Right. This is a little beyond that. They had their cheerleaders pose topless for a photo shoot. And then they sent the photos out to various. First of all, they had various suite holders in attendance during the photo shoot, all male, by the way. And then they sent out the photos to various people around the country, one of them being John Gruden. Because, his brother worked for the Washington football team at the time, the then Redskins. So that's how they discovered Gruden in his emails. So what are we doing here? Some of the comments you read about Gruden and some of the things he said about
Yeah, well, some of them, well, the original stuff was race-related. Then it came out it was also homophobic and misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, when you have the three-strike holy trinity of, error name-calling, you're going to get thrown out of your job, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, he would, he criticized the Obama. He called Biden a.
I think the only thing people would agree with was his criticism of Goodell, because I'm sure nobody actually likes Goodell, but he used some, let's just say, choice terminology that you should not be using.
Well, I know he referred to Joe Biden as a nervous, clueless pussy, and then used similar words to describe Goodell. And
yeah. The Goodell one, I feel like, was one that people brushed over. Like, that's terrible, that's terrible. That one's actually not that bad. Awful, like just going through the list, because nobody likes Goodell.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people are certainly split on Biden, but I don't think you're going to get much disagreement.
See, maybe it's just me because I'm from like a different generation.
Uh-huh.
You're emailing insults to people?
What
not going to like text somebody or something? You're emailing people?
I can't believe in this day and age you're creating an electronic paper trail.
I'm just trying to imagine somebody typing out insults to send somebody just to send to somebody else's company email. Maybe because I'm just not from that generation, but that just seems like a really stupid thing to do.
Let me tell you something. When I was doing stand-up, you would come up with jokes, current event stuff usually, and you knew that it was going to be controversial when you did it. So there had to be a level where you knew this joke was just going to destroy, and it would overcome the queasiness about the material. It was high risk, high reward, all right? But for Gruden to send out these emails, there's no reward, all risk. You're sending out emails that you have to be smart enough to know.
You're in a political rant about about Biden via email.
Well, sure. I mean,
interesting.
And then again, that's not even as bad as that was. That's not even close to the worst.
Of course, it's not close to the worst. I'm just saying he covered all the basis of like terrible conversations to have, and he left the trail for everything.
Yeah, just let I just don't understand how you're not smart enough not to. Well, number one, not to do it, even if you feel that way. There's plenty of people that hold antiquated racist views. They just don't let everybody know via email. Good God.
On the bright side, though, at least he didn't have any plays in the playbook with any of those terms on it. So it could have been worse.
As far as we know, anyway.
As far as we know. That is true.
Who's going to be next coach?
Well, they got the special teams guy doing it now. Fun fact, by the way, Gruden to be first coach to leave or whatever. Really bad beat if you had Urban Meyer, by the way. Mostly 10-1. Somebody on Twitter did send me a photo from 2 days ago that he got John Gruden at 50-1.
And there was a date on the slip itself.
It's on October 10th. 50-1. And Bovada, and according to that, Bovada paid him.
Okay. Well, it's on Twitter, so it's got to be true.
I'm saying he sent me a photo of it, so I buy it.
Nobody could Photoshop anything like
You could. I just don't think he's lying about it because Bovada's been known to have some.
Couldn't put a 5 where the
Bovada's had some questionable long shot odds in the past, so I've made a decent penny from Bovada stuff in the past. So, yeah, I believed it.
All right, very good.
By the way, just to reflect back to something completely unrelated, the Kraken to make the playoffs is minus 130.
Okay.
So they're actually favored to make the playoffs.
Fantastic. Well, easy come, easy go on that Kraken plus money.
Yep.
All right. Well, sayonara, John. Hope you made enough because you ain't working in football again.
Or ESPN.
No. He's toxic. No chance.
Do you think he would even get a high school job? No, nothing.
No chance. Sorry.
I don't know.
No chance.
Art Briles ended up in Europe after he almost covered up a rape scandal in Baylor. He's still coaching. I don't know.
So you asked me if Gruden could go coach football?
I'm asking if he can coach in some outskirts place in random Iowa.
No.
You think he's just done?
Yes.
I don't think he needs the job. He'll just sit on his money anyway.
No, I don't know. I don't know where you would go that parents wouldn't just create a huge a huge shitstorm.
Especially African American parents, because you used racist terminology when you were describing
Yeah. So you're misogynist, you're racist, and you hate Democrats.
And you're also homophobic. So, that's the holy trinity of terrible things to say.
Yeah, you got a few friends, but you ain't got enough. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. The whole cheerleader thing, that just is, as a father of daughters, that just turns my stomach. And
the cheerleader thing I knew about. I said sexual harassment because I wasn't exactly sure what else to call it.
Yeah.
Besides like borderline I can't say prostitution, but
I would call it borderline sexual assault is what I would call it.
Well, either way, the point is I didn't realize that's how the whole thing started with Gruden.
Yeah, that's what the New York Times was doing an expose on the football team and, the cluster that they got going over there. So good luck with that, by the way.
And yet Washington still has the same owner.
How long can that last?
I thought he passed over responsibility to his wife, I believe, or his whatever. So who knows?
And I really like his pretzels, the Snyder's. Oh, those are
I think the NFL is just one of those organizations that will really just turn the cheek unless somebody gets caught. And then all of a sudden they spring into action when the writing's been on the wall for a couple of whatever.
Is there more to come? Because something we didn't talk about was the women's soccer league situation where they basically shut down.
Yeah.
In protest of the sexual intimidation and the allegations that are going on there.
But that goes back to my point, where most organizations will try to brush it aside, and then once everything hits the fan, then all of a sudden 7 different things happen immediately.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? Have we learned nothing? Is Me Too meant nothing? Are guys just still clueless, Scott?
Well, I've mentioned in the past, I'm not going to get into the whole Me Too stuff, but I'm just going to say in general, people care about the bottom line. And the point is that organizations lack institutional control, which is a term used in college, but I'm going to use it here, where you just try to keep everything afloat, no matter what goes on behind closed doors, put some duct tape on it, and hopefully it sticks. And it might temporarily, but in every single situation, it's very rare you look back at a commissioner, an owner, a player, anything like that has had personal issues, and it gets completely kept secret for their entire lives. At some point, something breaks.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It just seems crazy to me. It just does.
I think people are stupid.
They are, and I would just assume that your generation, Scott. I thought there was hope with you guys are getting out there. You're getting in charge more, and for better or worse, it's certainly evolved. And I think the younger kids have evolved more than some of us older dinosaurs. Although, if you're a father with children, especially with daughters, and you don't understand why that's wrong, I got nothing for you. There's no Me Too. There's no hashtag. There's no explanation that's going to help you. If you don't have a pit of disgust in your stomach when you hear shit like that.
Well, especially since they didn't want to appear topless for the photo shoot, and they basically forced them to do it.
No, and sometime we'll talk about it. That's a horrible gig, by the way, being an NFL cheerleader.
Sure.
Hey, Alabama lost. You excited about that?
Yeah. I didn't think Calzada was any good, so he proved me wrong there. That was fun.
Yeah, we roasted him. Again, a big fan of the show apparently, because they learned young, Scott. We roasted him, and he went out and absolutely stood on his head, and they didn't wilt down the stretch. Once Alabama woke up, did you have any doubt in your mind they were coming back to win that game?
No, I saw A&M punt a couple of times. I thought it was a wrap. I thought the punt recovery was game over, and then A&M took the following kickoff for a touchdown, and suddenly I thought they had a shot at it.
So you talked about it a little bit. What's the price on Alabama right now? Plus 240?
260.
260?
Georgia's about even money.
Is there value there?
You can make an argument if you think they run the table. The issue is they have to beat Georgia in the SEC title game. Because if they lose 2 games, they're not getting in.
Nope. If they beat Georgia in the SEC title game, do we have to see Alabama in the playoffs again?
Of course. If Bama loses only 1 game, they're getting in.
Okay.
Them and Georgia. If Georgia runs the table and loses to Bama in the title game, they're both getting in.
Ohio State's undefeated. Cincinnati's undefeated.
Ohio State is not undefeated.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. They lost to Oregon. That's right.
Oklahoma's still undefeated.
Oklahoma's still undefeated.
Somehow.
So, talk about doing it with mirrors. Holy God. Who else undefeated that matters? Anybody?
I don't think anybody from the main Power Five.
So you've got Iowa.
Yeah, they're going to end up having to cannibalize themselves with Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State.
So well, maybe they run the table there. So Iowa wins the Big Ten. Oklahoma wins the Big Ten. Cincinnati remains undefeated. There's 5 teams. Alabama's got a loss. Georgia's got a loss. Who goes?
Well, Georgia's guaranteed to get in if they get 1 loss because they made the conference title game, but they've been killing everybody. They're getting in no matter what. Bama would get in automatically if they win the conference title too, because they would beat Georgia and Georgia would be number 1, and yeah, they'd get in automatically too. So the other ones are. So you said Iowa and Oklahoma go undefeated?
Iowa, Oklahoma, and Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's getting left out.
They're number 3 right now.
Doesn't matter. There's no chance they would get in over Oklahoma and Iowa.
Burn it down.
I would want Cincinnati in it, but there's no chance they're taking an undefeated group of 5 over 2 undefeated Power 5 teams. That's just not happening.
You sure?
Yeah.
Over a terrible Oklahoma team?
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Oklahoma goes undefeated. They win. They run the table. Who cares?
Well, when do they pass Cincinnati exactly in the polls?
At some point, if Cincinnati ends up not facing another ranked team throughout the entire season.
Oh, they are.
They need SMU. They play SMU next game or the game after?
Game after, I believe.
So if SMU loses, we'll see. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to hold it against Cincinnati because Oklahoma has ranked teams on the schedule, even though the Big 12 isn't very good.
Who's Oklahoma have left that's ranked?
That's what I just said for the Big 12. You can go through. Let me actually see what their schedule is right now. No matter what, they'd have a conference title game, so you're going to be going up against a ranked team there. But
not necessarily.
Well, they beat Texas.
Yeah.
TCU's not ranked, even after the win against Tech.
Let me double check and see if they made it back. I don't think so.
I don't think they did either. No, they did not. Okay. So I think Iowa State will be ranked by the time they play.
TCU's not even getting any votes.
They play November 20th against Iowa State. I think Iowa State will be ranked at that point.
Okay.
Baylor has 1 loss, so maybe Baylor will be ranked. We'll see. Oklahoma State's ranked number 12 to end the year. And not to mention the conference title game.
No,
so you're assuming minimum Oklahoma has 2 games against ranked teams left. Cincinnati has 1. Assuming Cincinnati even stays undefeated. Because whoever Cincinnati plays in the conference title game is not going to be ranked.
Well, right now, the only ranked Big 12 team other than Texas and Oklahoma is Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So
as of right now, but we know the committee's not afraid to juggle things around. I think Iowa State will be ranked when they play.
I don't see that.
It's in November, so you got about 5 weeks for a resume. I think Iowa State will be in the 20s.
By the way, Oklahoma State's still undefeated. I know there's people out there going, wait, what about the Cowboys?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they can't beat Oklahoma, Scott.
They might be able to, but I actually think Williams is just a different animal than Rattler.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a different team.
Who starts this weekend?
Rattler should transfer immediately. His bag should already be packed and sent to the airport. He's done.
You think he is?
The only chance he has of playing is if Williams gets injured or if they're up 60. Rattler's never going to see the field, and he shouldn't.
Really?
Of course not. He was awful the whole year.
You go from Heisman favorite.
Well, he was originally. We both didn't like him at all.
I understand, but you go from preseason Heisman favorite to out of a job in 6 weeks?
I think that sounds right. They were gonna lose by 20 if Rattler stayed in the game. People were calling for him 3 weeks ago.
He was awful.
Williams is a better quarterback. Accept it and move on. It's fine. It happened with JT Barrett getting injured. You had Cardell Jones who led them to the playoffs, and they won a title. You've had situations in the past. You have to accept the fact that Williams is the guy.
Well, and for the record, Lincoln Riley has said he has not made up his mind who's going to start.
He's made up his mind. He's just not telling anybody.
Okay.
He knows. He's just trying to get the other team to prepare for both quarterbacks. There's a 0% chance Rattler starting the game. If you were placing odds on who's starting, I'd put Rattler 12-1.
I think that's insane.
It's not. I'm telling you straight up, Williams is going to start.
You can't take a guy's job that's supposedly that good.
I am. He's done.
Okay.
Stick a fork in him.
Okay.
Williams led one of the best comebacks, arguably in program history. He's keeping in the job.
We'll see. We'll see. You could be right.
It's not even could. I'm just telling you I am.
You could be right. There's no when no. I'm not. You're not. It's not a lock.
I'm saying right here, if Williams is not the starter next week,
Yep.
then Oklahoma's calling for the firing of Lincoln Riley. The fan base is going to riot if Rattler's the quarterback for the next week.
You think Oklahoma turns on Rattler that quick?
Yes, 100%. They got better things to worry about. They got to win titles. Rattler's not getting them there.
Okay.
It's a cold business, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Rattler's transferring during the offseason.
I just don't think you lose your job in over half a game.
I disagree. Happens in the NFL all the time.
This ain't the NFL, baby.
I'm telling you, Rattler's.
And it doesn't happen in the NFL all the time, by the way.
Usually for injury purposes, but it has happened for performance based. But no, Williams is the guy.
No one is falling that fast. That's like
I'm telling you, it's happening. Accept it.
That's like after Mahomes' performance last night, you say, you know what, we're gonna bench Mahomes.
No, because the backup didn't go for 30-something points in the second half and lead his team to a win.
Now it's a shame because I'm sure that would have happened.
Just saying.
Okay. So Cincinnati, do they have a shot, Scott? They're third right now in the country.
Yeah, they have a shot. They just need a couple more things to go in their favor, which is really ridiculous because so many things have gone in their favor already. I still think the conference schedule is going to hurt them in terms of the eyes of the committee. Now, the committee might be listening to the noise, and they might start to say to themselves, we really can't keep a group of 5 out anymore because everyone's already rioting.
Right.
Like Coastal last year, they tried. They were burying them in BYU the whole season. But I think Cincinnati's the team where they're looking at it and going, we might have to let them in. But if you mention the scenario, which I think is not going to happen, where Iowa goes undefeated and Oklahoma goes undefeated, I think they're going to jump Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's getting in. I think the interesting situation is if Iowa loses to Ohio State in the conference title game and Ohio State runs the table, does Ohio State jump Cincinnati? I think the answer is yes anyway.
Depends on what they do.
Talk about that.
Depends on what they do with Michigan. If they
I said if Ohio State runs the table.
If they barely squeak by Michigan, then I think there's less of a chance than if they dominate.
Truth is, I don't think it matters. I think if Michigan's top 10 and Ohio State wins on the road by 3 and then wins the conference title game by 3, I think they're getting in over Cincinnati. I still believe, because I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist on this, that the committee will do whatever it can to not let the group of 5 team in. So if Cincinnati wins 1 game by 7, they're dropping him in the rankings for no reason. It's just going to happen.
What's the advantage of that for the committee? What's it?
Money.
Are you telling me that us seeing Ohio State or God forbid Oklahoma for the 6th year in a row only to go out there and get blown out? You think that's more intriguing than seeing a group of 5 school for the first time in the playoffs to see what they do?
It's all about the fan bases. Ohio State is a huge fan base.
No. It's not all about the fan base.
I think a lot of it matters.
It's all about the viewership. It's all about TV.
What do you think would have better views? Ohio State against Georgia or Cincinnati against Georgia?
Cincinnati against Georgia.
I highly disagree with you.
100%.
I think a decent amount of people would think Cincinnati would get buried and they wouldn't even bother.
They want to see that game. Nobody wants to see Ohio State, and they really don't want to see Oklahoma, Scott.
I don't, but if you Oklahoma
doesn't have a national presence. Ohio State has a little bit of a national presence, but they're not Notre Dame. They're not Alabama. They're not one of these true national teams like that.
Listen, I'm just saying, if you actually think that Cincinnati versus Georgia would have better ratings than Ohio State against Georgia,
100%.
I have no idea what you're thinking. You're just wrong. I don't know how you can think that.
Because people want something new.
I agree they want something new, but I think I think that we want something new.
We're not.
But you are really underestimating the actual loyalty and prestige that some of these brands have.
Bullshit. No,
I disagree.
No.
I think that if you compared the ratings, 2 Power 5 schools going at it would do better ratings wise than 1 Power 5 and 1 Group of 5. It's the way it is.
They want to see something new, buddy. I think that's true. I think that's the way it is. So I don't know. We'll see.
Let us know down below. What you would rather see. Let us know what you think would get better ratings. Ohio State against Georgia in the college football semis, or Cincinnati, Georgia? Which would get more national ratings?
By the way, Cincinnati did play Georgia last year.
They did. It was close.
Had them beat.
They did.
Had them beat.
Fickle blew the game.
Until the fourth quarter. Story. That's exactly right. So it's not like, well, God, nobody wants to see Cincinnati. They're just going to get blown out again. No, they gave Georgia everything they wanted and more. So,
you can replace Georgia with Alabama, and some people might just assume Bama wins by 60. Let's just get out of here. I don't feel that way, but I think people would feel that way.
I think Georgia's a better team than Alabama right now simply because of that defense. Now,
well, I agree, but I'm saying if you wanted to avoid the rematch angle in your head, then you can make a case for another Power 5.
All right. Well, we have plenty of time to argue about that. So
let us know down below what would get better ratings.
Yes, absolutely. Let us know if you want to. If you as a well-informed, because
No, yeah. We're not talking about what you would rather see personally. We're talking about if you could assume you knew access to the Nielsen ratings, whatever. What would get more viewers on TV?
I have two questions. I want to know. I want to know what you think would do better, and I want to know what you want to see.
I'd rather see Cincinnati, but we both would.
I would rather see Cincinnati. I think a lot of our viewers, by the way, obviously watching this content, very well informed about sports. They know their shit. They understand how it works. I value their opinion greatly. So definitely let us know who you want to see and who you think the nation would want to see. All right. So, all right, there you go. Baseball. Got some baseball, buddy. You ready? By the way, you listen to Winners and Whiners Radio. Give us an hour, and we'll give you some unfiltered opinions. No, we'll give you the winners. That's what we're getting ready to do right now. Oh. Brewers, Braves. Got a little afternoon start there, buddy. Got no pitchers for this one.
Good stuff.
Let me see if there's any projections. But we'll talk. In the meantime, I'll check that out. We'll talk about McCullers going up against Rodon in the makeup game there in the Windy City. I'm sure John Cusack will be there again, right?
Give me the 7-inning doubleheader.
Oh God. Can we put 7-inning doubleheader? Put guys on second base to start every inning. Would that be all right? Can we just do that? Oh man. Houston in trouble in this one, bud. White Sox are the favorite, about -115, -120. 8.5 is the number.
Words cannot describe how much of an advantage Houston gained from that rain delay. They gained such a huge advantage by being able to reset the rotation. That is so big.
Nobody's got to go on short rest. Absolutely true.
And Rodon was going to pitch anyway.
Right.
So I loved Houston. I liked Houston yesterday anyway. Chicago's favored. McCullers killed this team in game one. Give me Houston.
Yep. I don't Rodon has been he's been decent lately, but we were talking about yesterday.
The length isn't there.
Yeah, he just came back at the end of August, so he's been back a little over a month. He's made 6 starts since he's come back. So this Houston team, man, they're rolling it up right now. This could be, at best, I think this is a coin flip. You're going to give me plus money with Houston? I don't see how you get away from that.
Of course, you got to take Houston.
So I've got a site, Scott. They're pretty good at projecting the starting rotations. They've got Lauer going against Yanoa. Now you and I have already talked about Yanoa going. We thought that he would be in line for this start, and I think that's going to be who goes. We've liked him. He's been good to us this season.
It's grand slams.
You think that magic continues? You know him, you love him. Does it continue?
Kind of have to. I said I thought Milwaukee would win the series going in. I thought it would go 5, so they're technically still alive, but can I really back a team that hasn't scored a run in 2 straight games?
I don't think so. I don't think you can do that.
I see the totals at 8.5, by the way, which good luck with that one.
And by the way, yeah, they scored. They won the first game. They scored 2 runs.
Yeah, they scored 2 runs in the first 3 games combined. I can't back them to win this game. No. And Lauer, I think, is okay. He's also not a length guy. I don't even know if it matters who's pitching for Atlanta. Milwaukee can't get hits. So I'll go with Atlanta in this one.
Yeah, Lauer had pitched really well, and then we backed him against Kershaw.
That was a while ago.
And he went out. Well, it was the 1st of October.
Oh, sorry, you meant that one. I haven't backed Lauer since the Dodgers game. I think Bauer was pitching. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way: I'm looking at a sheet with his last 20 starts, and that one ain't on there. So, but he gave up 5 earned in 5 innings against the Dodgers. two home runs. And so he wasn't good, but up until that point, he'd been very good and given up a 1 or less in his last 5 starts. So
Are we sure the Brewers are actually going to score tomorrow?
no, we're absolutely not sure of that at all. Again,
I have to take the under in the Braves.
now it hasn't been pitching well, Scott. He's been struggling. He's given up 13 earned over his last 3 starts, covering just 13 and 2/3 innings. So he's looking at a 8.6 ERA over his last 3 starts. If the Brewers aren't going to get to him, they're not going to get to anybody. That's going to be their shot. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. The question is, does it matter? And I'm not sure if it does.
Okay, are you taking the Braves blind though?
I have to. Milwaukee might wake up offensively and score 2 runs.
All right, yeah, if that is the pitching matchup, that's the way we're going to go. And
I'm assuming you like the under too.
You
have to. I mean,
yeah, Lauer's really struggled, but
you mean Yanoa has.
I mean, has struggled, but I don't know how you can possibly take the over with a team that scored 2 runs in the last 3 games.
I can't. Even Atlanta's offense, they have won. They haven't scored more than 3 runs in a game either.
God bless you. If you go out there and play,
if the over hits and you take it, good for you. But I can't see the angle.
That's what I'm saying. Especially if it's something like 8.5 again.
Yeah.
If you got the gigantic stones to play over 8.5 with this Brewers team and you hit it.
Do you know how many runs these teams have scored combined in the first 3 games? 9.
Yeah.
They've had 3 runs in each game. I can't take a total of 8.5.
So it's gone over 8.5, but it's taken them 3 games
combined by half a run.
It's like one of those things that we say when we win a bet or lose a bet. Like, yeah, they could have played 3 games and they still wouldn't have got there. Yeah,
they actually could have.
Yeah, they actually could have. And anybody else going tomorrow? Dodgers and Giants. No announced pitchers there. Speculation: DeSclafani against Gonsolin.
Give me the Giants. Let's have some fun. Give me a plus price on a team that's won 107 games and is up 2-1.
Yeah, plus. I got plus 155. Are you actually seeing that official anywhere?
No, it doesn't matter. You know the Dodgers are going to be favored. Take the plus money.
Oh my God! I think the Dodgers fans are still going to be there like in November. Like,
if they play the Braves in the second round, will they actually be favored in almost every game? I'm not even sure.
The Giants, yeah.
They've been getting – the odds makers have gotten their ass kicked for the entire year, and they're still putting the Dodgers at about minus 160. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, what did that game finish? What did that game finish up today?
Scherzer was pitching, so the Giants, I believe, finished at around 180, 175.
Yeah, it closed at 210 across the board, pretty much.
Not even got 190 if you really.
Yeah, you could have got 185 somewhere out there. Good God, and that's what pisses me off, Scott. I was trying to decide between the run line for the Giants and the team total, and I went with the team total just because I thought the Dodgers might break through offensively. Ifs and buts, my friend. All right. So, hey, we do have a football game.
Yes, we do.
Pretty good one. Should be.
Could be.
Got your Ape State. I'm sorry, I'm checking notes. That says App State against Louisiana. Are we just calling them Louisiana now? What's the official position of the show? Do we call them Lafayette? We're
calling them the Reichel Cajuns.
The Reichel Cajuns. It is a home game down there in Reichel Cajun land. And App State coming to town. A lot of App State money coming in. Scott opened up 3.5. That number is up to a smooth 5 across the board. 57 is your number. This is a series been dominated by the away team lately. The visitors are 4-1 against the spread the last 5. Now, in keeping with that tradition, Louisiana Lafayette, they were able to get the victory for the first time in a while last year against Appalachian State up there in Boone, North Carolina.
Almost blew it, but they held on.
Almost blew it, but they held on with, what's the quarterback's name, Scott?
Levy Lewis.
With Levi. Now, you almost got me saying.
I just remember last year, the long snapper kept snapping it over people's heads.
They don't call them long snappers for nothing, buddy.
He would launch at 30 yards. I remember he had like 3 awful snaps.
I'm assuming they got that fixed.
I'm assuming they did too.
Who you like?
I like Appalachian. I don't think Lafayette's any good. I've tried to watch them play. They killed Ohio, which means nothing. They barely beat South Alabama at home, which is an embarrassing showing. Appalachian's
You don't
just a
think
good.
You don't think USA is any good?
I thought they were because I backed them, and then I watched the Texas State game, and I went no interest at all. But the way I see it, Appalachian's just the much better team. Bryce has been good. They have 2 good running backs in Noel and Peoples.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with Appalachian. I just think they're the much better team. You?
Okay. You know what? I've got to.
You can always concede and take the conference home team with points, but I really don't think Lafayette's that good this year.
Well, they're 4-1.
Yeah, I know. Record-wise, they're fine. They haven't impressed me.
Well, that's what that's what really counts.
Yeah, it is. Appalachians impressed me.
Comes to bowl selection, you go, well, what's your record? Well, we're 10-1.
It passed the eye test.
What's Reichel think? We better call it.
I'm a bit down on them. That's fine. You're in the Belk Bowl.
Yeah, App State is just really doing a good job on offense. They're really well balanced. Both these defenses are surprisingly good. Well, not necessarily surprising for App State. It's surprising for me that Louisiana's defense is that good. They had struggles, but they are susceptible to the run. Teams have been able to run. They've only averaged 4.1 yards per carry, but they run for 171 yards. So
Peoples might go for 150.
It's possible. They get Harrington back probably too.
That's also big.
So they're going to have a possible 3-headed monster there in the backfield. I don't know if they have enough footballs to everybody, but
it's a good team.
They've got some quality. I originally liked App State. I've watched that number go. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Lafayette just because this is one of those series where weird things happen. Every year you go in thinking Louisiana has no shot, and every year it ends up being a close game, and they have been able to keep the games close.
I think it'll be close. I just like App State by a touchdown.
I'm going to fade the public, buddy. I'm going the other way. What do you got? What do you feel about the total on this?
I'm going to lean to the under. Just because I think that App's going to try to run the ball and defenses are pretty good. I just see a grind. I think Lafayette's going to try to play ball control offense. Give me the under.
At 57 seems a little high to me, doesn't it to you?
It does. I see this game finishing 27-20.
That seems about right. All right, very good. Well, there's only one thing left to do, Scott. Earlier today we put our heads together. We discarded a number of plays, but we zeroed in on something that has some real value. I know you're excited about it, so let's get right to it, Scott. Time to put on your overalls, climb on that John Deere, fire that bad baby up, and get ready to bet the farm. All right, Scott, I know we had a farm play yesterday on that game involving the Giants and the Dodgers. And just to remind everybody, how did that end up going for us?
So we ended up having the Giants plus 1.5, and they won the game outright, 1-0.
There you go. I'm a picking and I'm a grinning. You know what that's from?
No.
Okay. Yeehaw. Look it up.
Cool.
All right. What do you got, buddy?
So we're going to hockey on this one for opening night, and we're looking at a matchup between the Penguins and the Lightning. And we like the Penguins team total under 2.5 goals at -115 on BetMGM. First of all, shopping around, same bet of under 2.5 is -140 on DraftKings. Pittsburgh usually has a pretty good offense with Crosby going crazy, Malkin being great. Wait a second. I heard both of them are not playing in this game because they're both injured. So with those two being out, Pittsburgh doesn't really have many other weapons. They got a couple of good complementary guys. When you're missing your main playmaker, a top 5 player of all time, and Malkin, who's a future Hall of Famer, your offense is going to struggle. And you're against the Lightning, who have the best goalie in the entire league in Vasilevsky. We think Pittsburgh's going to struggle offensively, and we think the Lightning will win the game, probably 3-1 or something. But Pittsburgh getting the 3 goals seems like a little bit too much for me to believe in. You?
I'm with you. I think that's a very solid play. And by the way, if you don't like hockey for our plays of the day, you should definitely root for us to lose in this one, because I guarantee you, if we hit this one, Scott's going to want to play hockey every night.
It's opening night. So, we got to go at it,
Yep, we do. We do have to celebrate opening night by taking a hockey play. And I do like that. It's with those 2 major injuries, it is tough to figure out where the offense is going to come from, especially against Vasilevsky.
I'm trying to imagine the power play when you're missing your best 2 power play guys.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. So I'm with you right there. So get yourself down on the Pittsburgh Penguins under 2.5 goals, right?
Yep.
Very good. All right, that's going to do it for our Bet the Farm play, and that is going to do it for the show today. As always, we appreciate you guys checking us out. We wish you nothing but the best. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money when you head back to the window. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow on Winners and Winers Radio. Take care, everybody.